Thank you very much for the opportunity to appear before you this morning. A nuclear-armed Iran would severely threaten the security and stability of a part of the world crucial to our interests and to the health of the global economy. In the face of this challenge, American policy is straightforward. We've pursued our broad policy goals through both engagement and pressure. We've sought to sharpen the choice now before the Iranian leadership. Last year, we embarked on an unprecedented effort to engage with Iran. Engagement is both a test of Iran's intentions and an investment in a partnership with a growing coalition of countries deeply concerned about Iran's nuclear ambitions. We've sought and continued to seek opportunities for Iran to demonstrate convincingly that its nuclear program is intended entirely for peaceful purposes. These opportunities have not been embraced by Iran. Iran's intransigence left the international community no choice but to employ a second tool of diplomacy, namely pressure. The adoption of UN Security Council Resolution 1929 was an essential first step in that effort, building upon and strengthening previous sanctions resolutions. It bans transfers of major conventional weapon systems to Iran. It bans all Iranian activities related to ballistic missiles that could deliver a nuclear weapon. It establishes a framework for cargo inspections to detect and stop Iran's smuggling and acquisition of illicit items. It prohibits Iran from investing abroad in sensitive nuclear activities, such as uranium mining. It creates important new tools to help block Iran's use of the international financial system to fund and facilitate its nuclear and other destabilizing weapons programs. It targets directly the role of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in Iran's proliferation efforts, adding 15 IRGC entities to the list of designees for asset freeze. And for the first time, the Security Council highlighted formally in the Security Council resolution the potential links between Iran's energy sector and its nuclear ambitions. Our goal now is to ensure the most aggressive implementation of these sanctions as possible. We're not alone. The European Union has acted strongly to follow up by endorsing a series of significant steps, as have Australia and Canada. We've called on states around the world to take additional measures and will continue to engage with these partners. Our efforts to implement and endorse the multilateral sanctions are supplemented by a number of important national tools, in particular the Iran Sanctions Act and the recently passed Comprehensive Iran Sanctions Accountability and Divestment Act. As was the case with the original Iran Sanctions Act, the obligations of the new legislation are already a regular part of our dialogue with foreign governments and the private sector. Our efforts have yielded significant results. At least $50 to $60 billion in oil and gas development deals have either been put on hold or have been discontinued in the last few years, due in part to our conversations with companies about the threat of ISI sanctions. Our pressure has contributed to the decisions by major international oil companies such as Total, State Oil, Eni, Lukoil, and Repsol not to undertake any new activities in Iran. In addition, major fuel suppliers such as Vitol, Shell, Reliance, IPG, Glencore, and Trafigura have announced that they will no longer sell refined petroleum products to Iran. The net result is that Iran now faces profound challenges in securing the foreign investment in its energy sector that it desperately needs. The administration has also undertaken to review past activity that could trigger sanctions under the ISA to ensure that we are appropriately implementing the Act. We have already seen that pressure, in combination with other goals, can have an impact on Iran. Through rigorous trade restrictions and active work to interdict WMD trade, illicit WMD trade, we have denied Iran access to items that it needs for its nuclear program. As Treasury Deputy Assistant Secretary Glazer can describe in greater detail, Iran is having great difficulty in obtaining access to financial services that are the lifeblood of international commerce and Iran's proliferation programs. The international private sector has grown wary of conducting business with any Iranian banks. International financial institutions have voluntarily gone beyond their legal requirements to curtail their interactions with Iran. The same can be said of Iran's government-owned shipping industry, which lacks both credibility as a legitimate entity and has difficulty obtaining foreign insurance for most of its fleet, impeding Iran shipping lines' access to foreign ports hinders Iran's ability to exploit those ports for proliferation purposes.
Mr. Einhorn, could you summarize? Your time is up. Could you summarize?
The designation of IRGC's construction arm, Khatam al-Anbiya, has had a similar effect. The company is pulling out of operations in South Pars, Iran's major natural gas field. And KAA referenced recent sanctions in its announcement on why it was doing so. So in conclusion, our aim has been to use these tools of pressure to sharpen the choice that the Iranian government faces and to press it to negotiate seriously with the international community and the P5+1 countries on its nuclear program. Pressure is meant to complement, not replace, the diplomatic solution to which we and our partners are still committed. We continue to acknowledge Iran's right to pursue civilian nuclear power, but with that right comes a profound responsibility to meet its international obligations. Our foremost objective is a durable diplomatic solution to the world's concerns about Iran's nuclear program. There is growing international pressure on Iran to live up to its obligations, and growing international isolation for Iran if it does not. Security Council Resolution 1929, I'm just finishing, Mr. Chairman. The Comprehensive Iran Sanctions Accountability and Divestment Act and the amplifying efforts that I've discussed help significantly sharpen that choice for Iran. We are pleased that Congress has given the administration the tools to increase pressure even further. We will continue to work very hard to implement them and continue to urge our partners to follow suit with their own tough national sanctions to complement Resolution 1929. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.